Senator Tuttle, Representative Lucchini, and honorable members of the Veterans and Legal Affairs Committee, I am Representative Justin Shinnett of Saco, and I'm here today to testify in support of LD 410, an act to revise the Maine Clean Election Act regarding participation in political action committees. This bill prohibits a certified candidate under the Maine Clean Election Act from establishing a political action committee for which the candidate is a principal officer, fundraiser, or decision maker. Let's start off with giving some background on the Maine Clean Election Act. On November 5th, 1996, voters went to the polls and cast their support for this particular system. The question at the ballot box read, do you want Maine to adopt new campaign finance laws and give public funding to candidates for state office who agree to spending limits? This resulted in 56% of voters in the affirmative, thus creating a public financing option for political candidates. Now, if you look at the last bullet on the first page for you as the attachment after my testimony, you will see that the declaration of intent form that one must fill out to become a clean elections candidate states that this is a voluntary public financing program. On attachment number 2, or the second page in that, you will see that in the statute verifying this fact, establishing an alternative campaign financing option, meaning candidates have the choice of whether or not to participate. Individuals can register as a clean elections candidate and take public money, or register as a traditionally financed candidate and raise the money on their own accord. This is where it's critical. This choice grants the state the ability to set parameters for the disbursement of public money to a given campaign. For example, every clean elections candidate must collect $5 qualifying contributions in order to receive those public funds. The same could be said for putting limitations on PAC involvement. What would be the difference between mandating qualifying contribution checks to be collected and mandating a lack of involvement in political action committees for a given period of time? One ensures the financial viability of the program, while the other, the ethical viability of the candidate's so-called independence from special interest influence. On the next page, on attachment number 3, you will see in subsection 6, restrictions on contribution and expenditures for certified candidates where the actual loophole exists. It states, after certification, a candidate must limit the candidate's campaign expenditures and obligations, including outstanding obligations to the revenues distributed to the candidate from the fund, and in this case they mean the Clean Elections Fund, and may not accept contributions unless specifically authorized by the Commission. The Executive Director of the Commission on Governmental Ethics and Election Practices gave testimony on March 28, 2011 before this same committee regarding a similar bill, LD 1054, submitted by then Representative Linda Valentino. In that testimony, Jonathan Wayne said, quote, "The Commission staff wishes to raise the technical concern that under current registration requirements, it may be difficult for the Commission or the public to know whether a PAC has been established to support a legislator for leadership. Also, if the committee approves of this bill, it may be helpful to specify a time period during which soliciting PAC contributions is prohibited," end quote. Well, in this bill, I have put language in specifying the time period for accepting contributions for PACs up until the time you become a certified candidate. Now, on the next page, on attachment number 5, in the statute, you will find that the definition of a certified candidate. Now, I'm not suggesting eliminating PAC fundraising altogether, though in an ideal world that would be a very nice thought. I am merely suggesting during the duration of the campaign period, for the time the clean elections candidate turns in their qualifying contribution checks, all the way through the day of the election, there should not be any PAC involvement. If individuals would like to start fundraising starting the day after the election until the next election cycle when the process starts all over again, they are more than happy to do so under this bill. Allison Smith, president of Maine Citizens for Clean Elections, also provided testimony on LD 1054, saying, quote, although there are only a relatively few candidates in each cycle who choose to have a PAC, in too many instances, PAC funds are raised from exactly the same special interest groups that our public funding system was designed to avoid, end quote. You know what? She's absolutely correct. As someone who was a traditionally financed candidate myself, I might seem like an advocate for the clean election system, but I am a very principled person. I will not sign my name to a program that has a blatant backdoor loophole for individuals to create a network of completely legal fraud, much of which is publicly searchable if you know what it is you're searching for. But as evident with the attached chart that you will see in one of the other handouts, it details financial figures. Many PACs don't have the name of the principal officer in their title, thus adding an extra layer of secrecy. The PAC money collected during campaign periods is used as a security blanket for clean elections candidates who fear being outspent if they just stay with public dollars they are given. The PAC money can be their knight in shining armor as independent expenditures when their taxpayer-funded supplies grow thin. I am seeking to strengthen clean elections by ensuring its core mission of keeping special interest money out of politics is abided by. Andrew Bossy, Executive Director of Maine Citizens for Clean Elections, said this during a media interview last month, quote, the idea is to have voter-based elections that are based on hard work and ideas, not fundraising. It's not about who can get the most money from who to run their races, end quote. And yet it appears that fundraising was a major priority for at least 34 candidates in the 2010 election cycle who took taxpayer dollars to run their respective campaigns and at the same time were also principal officers or decision makers for their own political action committees, many of which were leadership PACs. Between the years of 2010 and 2011, there were 13 Republicans and 21 Democrats who were clean candidates in their own right while raising a combined $978,501 in PAC money. You will see in the attached table a breakdown of PACs, their principal officers, and the tallies for a given year, both for MCEA and traditional financing options. I hope to have the updated numbers for you for the work session for 2012. I'm sure those would be very interesting as well. Taking a look through, you'll notice $1.9 million raised for leadership PACs and $1.4 million in caucus PACs over that time frame. Some key leadership PACs raised $77,000 or more in 2 years, $105,000 in 3 years, $118,000 over a 4-year span. Imagine, for instance, if all that money was used to shore up our budget shortfall instead of hoisting political aspirations. According to the Commission of Governmental Ethics and Election Practices, there is no limitation on the amount of money a contributor may give to a PAC. PACs may also make an unlimited amount of contributions to other PACs and to party committees. This, combined with our clean election system, is a bad combo. It creates a vicious cycle where candidates raise private money for their PACs, funnel that money to party caucus or committee PACs, which then in turn spends that money throughout multiple races by way of independent expenditures. All the while, the lobbying groups donating to these individual PACs get brownie points with that particular legislator to influence policy opinions, votes, or to gain access later in the session. These legislators on both sides of the aisle also get their gold star for raising a substantial amount of money, somehow showcasing this fiscal feat to their respective caucuses in an attempt to secure leadership positions. And we wonder why the public has such an apprehensive view of our political system. Last time I checked, leadership is defined by ability, not money. Putting this bill into law will ensure that special interest money does not influence leadership races, or at the very least, make it more difficult to do so. It will send a message that the Senate President, Speaker of the House, and the like cannot and will not be bought. This bill aims to restore public confidence into clean elections by eliminating a simple loophole. When candidates double dip by accepting money from two hands at the same time, we are creating generations of dirty politicians, or at the very least creating a very negative public perception of the campaign finance process. Taking taxpayer money with this hand and special interest money for your PAC with this hand means I must be ready to take on the role of leadership. I urge this committee to vote in the affirmative and send this to the floor with an ought-to-pass majority report. I think the voters of the state of Maine deserve at least that much. Thank you for your time and be open to questions.